And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the only podcast on the internet where I sit down behind a microphone and apparently just adopt the catchphrase I had from that other show I did because it's over with. Welcome back. This is the Constitutionals. Let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today that I want to talk about today. So as soon as I find the thing. Okay, so this week, very special, very, very exciting. Something I've been wanting to do I've been meaning to do for the past like 4 months is watch a movie called The Death of Stalin. It's great. I had a really good time watching it. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna lie, but before I'm not going to. I am actually not done with it yet. I started watching it last night. I watched an hour and a half. I have maybe 15 minutes left or 20 minutes left. I don't know. And I am, because I was tired. That doesn't matter. Who cares? The movie's wonderful. It, like the title implies, it follows Stalin after he dies. Then Steve Buscemi, well, not after he dies, but it follows his team after he dies. Steve Buscemi, let's see who else, and Jeffrey Tambor. They lead the movie. Very good cast. Very white cast. Very funny cast. They can do anything with this cast, with the script. Armando Iannucci's the director and I believe the writer too. Yeah, he also wrote it with David Schneider and Ian Martin. Armando, you might know him from Veep. I hope you would know him from Veep. Very good at what he does. Their team is also very good. And it's I don't know if apparently it's a very historical accurate movie, which is good, which is always what you want to hear when it comes to these things. So there you go. Death of Stalin, wonderful. I finally watched it. Did not watch Blind Spotting yet, but I will. I have apparently. That was Death of Stalin was in it expired December 17th, and I still have a couple hours to watch that, so I'll do it. ELSEWORLDS came on this week, which was the Arrowverse crossover they did. Didn't include Legends of Tomorrow, nor did it introduce Black Lightning, but there's a wrinkle. At the end of the crossover, they announced they're going to do Crisis on Infinite Earths. I love Crisis. I love the Crises series when it comes to DC. It's one thing about these comic book movies that gets me is that they never embrace the insanity that is. And you know what? I will say that maybe Guardians of the Galaxy and I don't know what else. I really don't know. Oh, Deadpool or Guardians of the Galaxy, Deadpool, and X-Men Days of Future Past are the only ones that really accept, and maybe Batman Forever too. Is that the one? Is that the first one Tim Burton did? I believe so. Batman Forever, wonderful. I love that movie so much. I love all the Batman movies. I'm looking at I have the collection over there, and I'm trying to see. It's Batman, Batman Returns, I think. I don't know. Batman Forever and then Batman and Robin. So Batman Forever is really good. Anyway, let's get back to it. But DC is like none of these movies, none of these superhero movies embrace the comic ability of these movies. That they like in that if you read paperbacks, the trade backs, whatever they're called, the collections, the omnibuses of the comics. What are those called? If you never read those, then you never really. Like, comics are stupid. Comics can tell a great story. They can have these great character moments. They can be engaging or depressive, but in the end, comics with superheroes are just stupid. Especially like Civil War. I love the Civil War. This is why I hated the Civil War movie. Like, I legitimately did not like that movie. But the Civil War comics, where it's all these Marvel characters getting mad at each other because some want to register for the government and some don't. It's insane. It's political. It's great. It's fun. You have to read a whole bunch of comics just to understand it. But in the end, it's stupid. And it kind of makes a little bit of sense. When you watch the movie, it's just 12 people who are mad at each other for some reason. You can really hear that thing outside. It's insane. But yeah, I'm trying to move quickly because and ELSEWORLDS really was that. ELSEWORLDS did the thing where it introduced a bunch of these characters, and it did tie up. Like if you're watching if you watched Flash, and if you watch a little bit of, like, if you know what Arrow is doing this season, which is Oliver went to jail at the end of last season, and he was in jail for half this season. Now he's out, I think. I don't know. I'm about 3 episodes behind. What I did yesterday. So I watched ELSEWORLDS. I watched the Flash episode. I watched the Green Arrow episode, the Arrow episode. They don't call it Green Arrow. Then I watched the Supergirl episode. I watched the Supergirl episode in the morning while I was at work, while I was waiting to get something to do. I wasn't just goofing off. I was waiting to get something to do and to be assigned something. And I started watching this ELSEWORLDS thing, managed to finish it. And then after that, I started reading. I'm way behind on Supergirl. I am half a season plus the first half of this season behind. I'm not trying to catch up. So what I did was, I wanted to initially. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. It's Supergirl. It's stupid. It's about a girl who's mad because she can't fight because she likes a boy or something like that. That's why I stopped watching it, because of Mon-El. And so I started reading all the Wikipedia entries for Supergirl from the half of last season I missed, and from the top of this season I missed. And now I'm caught up, and I will never watch those episodes again. She's not working for the DEO again anymore, so that's fine. The president was outed as an alien. I knew that much. Her sister Alex is in charge of the DEO, probably still a lesbian. Because I made a point of mentioning that in every episode, every line she spoke. They did a great job juggling characters this time. I miss the Legends. And I'm definitely not caught up on that show. I think that show's great, though. I miss the Legends. I do not see where they could fit in here. They did have Caitlin and Caitlin Snow, Killer Frost, and Cisco, Ramon, and Vibe. They were in every single episode, as were, let's see, who else was in every single episode? Deegan the Monitor, yeah, of course. Batwoman was in every single episode. This new villain that they introduced, Psycho Pirate, who I had to read up on. I only recognized his mask. I did not recognize anything else. Nora Freeze was in here. All great. It was great. I'm looking at Brainiac 5, and I just thinking that how stupid of a character this is. They have everybody in here that you'd expect. It's wonderful. It's great fun. I urge you to watch it. Next year, I hope. What I read on comicbook.com, I believe, what I read, or Screen Rant, one of those, who cares? What I read was that for Crisis, they could finally bring all these worlds together, and then just have these like Black Lightning and Supergirl finally bring them into the Arrowverse proper, and so there won't be any excuse for them not to know that each other exists. And I think Black Lightning is wrapped, is what I was told. I was told by this from somebody who tried to get a role on there, who currently works with me. And I said, oh, they're wrapped. That's insane. They might be doing a short season. I don't know what it thinks. But anyway, ELSEWORLDS great. Nailed It Holiday. Let's move on. Nailed It Holiday Edition of Nailed It. If you don't know what Nailed It is a competition cooking show on Netflix. It's great. It's wonderful. Nicole Byers, the host, and has a bunch of other alternative comedians in there joining her. John Gabris, Jay Chandrasekhar, who was in the Super Troopers. He's the brown guy, the only brown person, part of Broken Lizard. Let's see, Lauren Lapkus, just a whole bunch of people. Really great show. I love it. Jacques Torres is her co-host. Also, he lost a lot of weight. He lost a lot of weight and got some white teeth. You could tell this man got that Netflix money, and then he went to work on himself. He looks good though. Nailed It Holiday. Watch it. These people think they're really good bakers. They're not. They're horrible. And I think that's all the things that I wanted to talk about for that first half. Oh Jesus! Oh my God. Okay, real quick. I want to do one story because apparently I put in 4 things here that need to be talked about. More commercials for Hulu during binge breaks. So this is something that came in literally as I got off of as I ended recording, and I put my computer down. And I was transferring the video and the audio, and I was looking through my Feedly feed, and I saw this, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy! I would love to talk about this." Hulu is, if you don't know, used to be a free platform that created by the three of the four major broadcast networks, everybody except for CBS. And they got together. They said, hey, let's get everybody to watch these shows online. They're like, sure, why not? This is before streaming became huge. And this is like, my Hulu account and my Netflix account are the oldest accounts. I guarantee it. Or some of the oldest accounts, or a couple of the oldest accounts. And so you could watch Hulu for free, blah, blah, jump to, I don't know, like 7 years later, they made it, you had to pay $8 to watch it, and you still got ads. You still got ads no matter what. And then you pay $12, you have no ads. Now, here's what they want to introduce. Now that AT&T owns a lot of Hulu. No, Disney owns a lot of Hulu. I don't know what the hell's going on here then. I could say hell. According to a report in Variety, this is from Slash Film, who found the story via Variety. Viva Variety. That is an old show. Hulu and AT&T are both exploring options to insert commercials in between streaming binge breaks. So you're watching Superstore like I am. It's a wonderful show. I don't know why I put it off for so long. And an episode ends. Yeah, I have the no commercial option. The episode ends. Another episode is supposed to begin. They want to put an ad right there. Hulu plans to unveil, this is quote unquote, pause ads in 2019. Ads that will pop up when users hit pause on whatever show they happen to be breezing through. As binge viewing, this is a quote from Jeremy Helfand, Vice President and Head of Advertising Platforms for Hulu. As binge viewing happens more and more, it's natural they are going to want to pause. It's natural break in the storytelling experience. No, sir. Similar story. Let's see. DirecTV Now. So these are two separate things, two separate entities right now. I thought they were one for a second. Even though AT&T, I think, does Turner owns like what, 5% of Hulu, something like that. AT&T, who's the owner of DirecTV, they're going to start putting in, this is a quote, full motion video on a screen on a screen when a user decides to take a respite. That's the weirdest way to describe something. We're going to take a full motion video on a screen when a viewer decides to take a respite. That's my fancy voice. We know you're going to capture 100% viewability when they pause and unpause. There's a lot of value in that experience, said Matt Van Houten. Oh, it must be Milhouse's cousin, Vice President of Product at AT&T's advertising division. So when streaming started and commercials were an issue only on cable and broadcast, people were ecstatic to not have this deluge of commercials hitting their faces. And now we get commercials hitting their faces, and they're really pissing people off. You ask the wrong person, and people will go, that person will tell you, well, I haven't seen a commercial in 15 years. I cut the cord, and I only stream my content, and I binge watch it. I hate those words, but it makes sense because these advertisers need to make money. It sounds like I'm taking the side of them. I'm not. But these advertisers need to make money, and what's the easiest way to do it is to start inserting ads within the spaces that are not usually added braked. For DirecTV Now, it makes sense. For Hulu, I'm not so sure. If it's the $8 plan, that's fine. If it's the $40 plan with the Hulu with live TV that includes commercials, I think that's fine. But still, $40 is still less than the normal. Sorry, it's got just check my phone. I should put this over there. I meant to time this podcast with this stupid phone, but I forgot to start it now to make sure I had to watch the thing. But ads are a tricky business. I remember for Amazon Prime, if you load up the app on your phone, and this is a $12 service, and there's usually no commercials, but you get commercials for as of now, you get the commercials for whatever shows are on Amazon, and it's only Amazon Prime Originals that you get commercials for. You get ads, and they're maybe 10 seconds long. You can skip them, and it's only when you open up the app. It's only when that. Hulu, of course, you pay $8. You get ads for everything during every commercial break. Netflix, you don't get ads. There was a point, I think 2 years ago, when Netflix started, testing out ads for users, just for like a handful of users, and people lost their stuff. And they reacted like children. And they don't realize that you pay $10 a month for the service. I think it's now $12. You pay $12 a month for this service, and they give you thousands of hours of movies and shows that you'll never be able to see all of. and then every single week they give you new things every single week, and you get pissy because it was only ads for their stuff, kind of the way Amazon does it. So it's only ads for their stuff, and you get pissy because they started doing that. I get that you don't want to watch commercials, but if it's an ad for if I'm watching Nailed It on Netflix and I'm finished with the season and they're showing me a commercial or a trailer for that Christmas movie with what's the Christmas movie they have up now? The new one that came out in 2018. If you're watching this in the future, what is the movie? I don't care what it is. Actually, I gotta know what this movie is. This is really bothering me. I can find it faster on my phone. Excuse me, I'm not answering any text message or emails because I got none. What's this movie called? I got to fill the air. And the American Meme. What is this? Oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. These friggin' things exist. The Christmas Chronicles. That's what it's called. Kurt Russell. I could have said Mowgli. I could have said Dumpling. Two movies I will watch in a second. But let me finish this before I have to take a break. But if they want to do after I finish Nailed It the Holiday, they want to put a commercial up or trailer for the Christmas Chronicles, go do it. It is, I pay $12 a month. Let them do it. If they're advertising their own shows, it's worthwhile. I don't see, people are pissy about everything, and you think you're guaranteed something. You're not. Trust me, this comes from a guy who had no job like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Let's take a break, and then I'll come back to you with some more stuff. Give me a second. Bye. And we're back. Let's not pretend. I'll tell you what happened. I did a little false start there on the coming back of this podcast. I just screamed out, and we're back. Right before I had to go, I brought up another article that was actually intrinsically tied into DirecTV Now, AT&T DirecTV Now. I have two more things I want to talk about, so I got to speed through this really quick. CEO Randall Stevenson, this comes from multichannel.com. CEO Randall Stevenson said AT&T plans to tweak VMVPD to where it's profitable. Okay. This article is called AT&T's new DirecTV Now plan, thin out the bundle, reset the price point to $1560. Now, if you don't know, DirecTV Now is AT&T's streaming cable service. I guess, yeah, streaming cable service. And I only say cables because that's the only word I know for something that holds Comedy Central and CNN. I don't know why I'm just picking out the things. MSNBC, E-News, all these things. So that's why Hulu with Live TV is still cable. PlayStation View is still cable. YouTube TV is still cable. Okay, so DirecTV Now is that version of that, but for DirecTV and stuff. Speaking at the UBS Global Media and Communications Conference earlier this week, AT&T CEO Randall Stevenson said work is underway to thin out the content, which means they're going to, I read this last week, they're going to cut channels. They're going to cut the channels that apparently you don't watch if you subscribe to DirecTV Now. So if you're not watching the Hallmark channel enough, but you're watching a lot of Lifetime, they're going to try to keep Lifetime, and they're going to get rid of, if enough people aren't watching the Hallmark channel, excuse me. So right now it's about $35 to $40. Oh, well, it was $35, and then they moved it up to $40 this summer, and now they're going to try to go, or maybe $60 at most. They have a built-in 2 million subscriber base. But this is from Stevenson. But we were asking this DirecTV Now product to do too much work. So we're thinning out the content and getting the price point right, getting it to where it's profitable. I think I'm going to go ahead and put in my 2 cents. I think what the issue is when DirecTV Now launched, it had all these issues. It was buggy. It wasn't working a lot of time, and but they came in with this. You pay up front for 3 months. You get a free Roku. You get an Apple TV. You get a free Apple TV. You subscribe for 3 months for $10 for 3 months. So they had crazy deals. And then and this is before they set the price point. They're like, but we'll tell you the price point in a second. And then they finally set the price point, and I guess some people kept it, some people didn't. But now $40, and especially $40 is a little bit too much to only be watching on your phone or your laptop. And I think I would believe they have a Roku app, but for me, somebody like me, I have a PS4, I have an Xbox, I have a Nintendo Switch. I don't watch anything else on my phone. I don't watch anything on my laptop. I only watch it on those 3 things. I don't want to watch, if it's not on my Xbox, it's not going to be watched at all. That's why I haven't subscribed to DC Universe, whatever the heck it's called. Sling, this is from Dish Programming Chief Warren Schlitting. Sling is really seeing explosive growth with its ad revenue. We're seeing incredible results with targeted advertising. For its part, AT&T, which already is seeing DirecTV Now customer growth decelerate from its previously torrid pace, seems to be biting the bullet and trading profitability for growth. AT&T is in effect repositioning DirecTV Now to sit in the middle of its video value proposition between its upcoming premium OTT service and its bottom end AT&T Watch streaming service. I don't know if they had an OTT service coming. Huh. That's insane. Why shouldn't it all just be DirecTV Now? So they're just going to thin it out, and we'll see what comes of that in the next couple of years. Last 2 things here. Oh my God, I already have something for an episode in February. That's crazy. Oh, it's something that has to do with the Oscars. Okay. Lastly, Washington Post, I saw a story for some reason in the style section. At NPR, an army of temps faces a workplace of anxiety and security. So this is written by Paul Farhi. Wonderful story. Really gets you a sense of what it's like working as a temp in NPR. So as I've mentioned before, and as I've shown with the application, I am somebody who doesn't have a real job. Well, I do now, but I didn't have a real job for about 8 months, for about 12 months, up until a couple of weeks ago. And what my life really consisted was waking up every day and doing a bunch of menial crap that I didn't want to do. I almost said the S word. I did not. I just want to be completely honest with you. A bunch of menial crap I didn't do. I didn't want to do. I worked at retail. I worked app work. I did a whole bunch of stuff. I've done manual labor. I've done everything. And that was even before I had the other real job, which was at a news station here. So I've done literally everything. And in this world, when you're young and you specialize in one thing or to specialize in a couple of things, sometimes you work as an intern or you work as freelance, which is what I'm doing, or you work as a temp at NPR. If you listen to NPR podcasts all the time, like I do, you hear them going, "Hey, come be an intern, come be an intern." What they never talk about is temps. And this is the Washington office. There are people who work as temps, and there are dozens. I want to say maybe 100, but there are dozens of people that work there, and their jobs are not secure. And this is what this article is talking about. Sometimes they will get, since this is a public broadcaster, they get money from Amazon, they get money from a bunch of other places. If you donate money to NPR, which hopefully you do, coming from a guy, never mind, I'll stop. I almost had a job there. So, very close. Listen to the application. It's a great podcast. But you work as a temp, and which is their way of saying, hey, you're working for us using our name, but you don't have a real job. You don't have benefits. You don't have any of this stuff, which blows. So basically you do anything. You work under their morning news shows, you work under their other news shows, you write for them, you take pictures, you shoot video, you do all this stuff. Sometimes you have a job for a couple of weeks and then you don't for a little bit. And then, but for there, it's really uncertain because they wouldn't call you until they needed you. Then there was the sexual harassment scandal from caused by Michael Orskes, and then a bunch of temps. They finally were able to voice their opinion because they felt unsafe at the workplace. And I'm not laughing, but they felt unsafe at the workplace. And I'm not saying it was all, sexual harassment stuff, but NPR had a bunch of listening sessions. Here it is. Following these listening sessions conducted among 40 current and former temporary journalists, NPR employees produced a report in May detailing a number of grievances and allegedly abusive practices. Among them, temps were often left in the dark about how long their assignments would last, how much they'd be getting paid, who they're reporting to, or what their title was. They also said they received little feedback from supervisors after completing an assignment and were routinely overlooked in NPR's recruiting efforts. So basically, and a lot of people described NPR's temp system as exploitive. Some people, like it said, you don't get a job most of the time. Some people were left in the dark. And this is a really stressful thing, especially if you're someone like me, or like these people who are creatives working in the industry, trying to get into the industry, trying to have that golden idol that is the job. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the golden idol is. I could have said something else. About 5% of the staff at the typical TV station was employed on a part-time or temporary basis, according to a survey conducted last year by the Radio, Television, Digital, and News Association. I was part of that 5% last year. They should have asked me. I would have given them a lot of crap. I was like, listen to this bull crap. Radio stations, which usually have much smaller staffs than TV stations, reported an average of just one part-timer or temp in the survey. The number of temporary workers among stations has declined steadily over the past 10 years as the recession has eased, said Robert Papper, who conducted the survey. NPR, what you get from the article is NPR is hold on. I want to tell you one thing. This is hold on. I'll get my thought out and then I'll read this out. What you get from the article is NPR is not really thinking when it comes to this stuff. They're not hiring in-house. They won't go with somebody they've been with for a very long time. It's very stressful. It sucks to be there. I want to get to this really quick. NPR, this is from the same thing. NPR's temps are guaranteed minimum wages under a contract with the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Arts. That's SAG-AFTRA. That means if you work at NPR, you are SAG. That's insane. I did not know. The labor union that represents most employees. The pay scale starts at around $21.63 an hour, or about $45,000 per year based on 52 weeks of full-time work. Now, again, you're not guaranteed full-time work. Me, as a freelancer, I worked, last week I worked 46 hours. This week, I only worked 24. Next week, I'm only going to work 16. Week of Christmas, I'm going to work, again, another 40-hour week. It's insane. It doesn't make sense. Temporary employees also qualify for health insurance, and other benefits if they work more than 30 hours per week in a 2-week pay period. But that is not assured for everybody. Like I just said, you can get health insurance, but but only if you manage to work consecutively. In interviews, 8 current and former temps described their employment at NPR as a stressful, precarious experience. Most spoke on the condition of anonymity to not jeopardize current and future assignments. But there's a bunch of people who spoke without anonymity, who didn't speak anonymously. I urge you to check out this article. It's wonderful. It's great, very well written, and it really tells you about the crap that's going on at NPR. Let's not end on a sad note. Let's go into something happy. Very happy, very good. That's still on NPR. So here we go. It's a show called Wait, Don't Tell Me. It's a podcast. It's a live radio program, but it's a podcast that I listen to every single week. So good. It's a game show between 3 panelists, and then there's usually a famous person too. And it's going to be, hopefully, this is the second time, it's going to be a TV show, NBC Universal Cable Entertainment's Wilshire Studios, that just kept going, has teamed with Stored Media Group to develop a TV series based on a long-running NPR program. If you check the show notes of this podcast, you can see the article comes from Deadline, Nelly Andreeva, and Dino Ray Romanos. I know Nelly. I don't know her personally. I've seen that name so many times because I have to read this. Detroit meteorologist dies by suicide. Oh my God. What? What the heck? Jesus. Why is this number 3 on Deadline? Okay. Let's move on. Peter Sagal hosts the show, and it's had a bunch of famous celebrity people, like I said before, but the TV adaptation will stay true to the original while delivering bigger visual and variety-themed games that can't be captured on the radio. It'll be an hour-long current events trivia. No, cut it down to 30 minutes. The show, the podcast, the radio version is already an hour long. But I think in order for this to work on television, it needs to be pared down. It'll be an hour-long current events trivia. And the only thing it needs to be pared down is because it'll move faster that way. If they do an hour-long and it's political comedy and they do, I don't know, and it has to be current too, political current comedy. Which means it has to be within the week that they shoot it, that they air it. It's gotta be half an hour so you can do some nice tight editing, cut out all the stuff, all the jokes that don't land. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. It'll be an hour-long current events trivia game featuring 3 celebrity panelists who will compete in a series of comedic challenges, earning points as they correctly answer questions about the week's news. The panelist who earns the most points will earn a cash prize for charity of his or her own choice. Hosts for the TV version is yet to be announced. They're not going to choose Peter Sagal. They could get, it's so strange when these shows make their way to television. I really hope that they are able to keep the same voice. Obviously you're not going to be able to have Peter Sagal behind or Bill Curtis as the announcer. They could do Bill Curtis as the announcer, but this show is typically taped in Chicago at WBEZ, live from WBEZ at the blank theater. I forgot the theater's name. Anyway, I'm excited. I will watch the show. I don't think it'll take much to put it on to produce it. What I'm saying is give me the job. I am a producer. And you should hire me. NBC Universal, Wilshire Studios. It's very strange. This whole NPR story. I didn't want to end on a bad note, but this whole NPR story. I wanted to work there so bad, and not to Washington. I don't want to go to Washington, but I wanted to work at NPR. And but it's very strange to when a big company like this, when it comes out that they don't have the best practices when it comes to treating their workers, some of their workers, just their temporary workers, then that's I'm putting my hands inside my cardigan and wrapping them up. It's very disheartening, and it blows that something like that has to happen. And it get announced like that. It's kind of like, and I'm not liking this, even though both companies did have a sexual harassment thing. Les Moonves at CBS, he so much bad stuff from the front facing person of the entire company. So many bad things. And when, reading all the stories, his is one that I'm reading a lot about, mostly because it's the biggest one right now. But Les Moonves is just the worst person on the face of the planet. And how he got his wife to just lie for him is, she's like, I believe him, and he's like, I didn't do a dang thing, which is, it's insane. It's crazy. It's not Matt Lauer levels, but that's oh boy. But I read something where I think it was Candace Bergen. Was it Candace Bergen said, my show would have lasted another 5 years if I had done that thing for Les Moonves. And the only thing I could think of was, that is just disgusting. Why do you have to, if I had that power, I would not. Well, first of all, I understand how you're so horny that you're like, I'm going to touch these people. That's insane, man. Just go touch yourself. This is not what this show's about. But I'm just so disgusted by Les Moonves. This is the most powerful man in broadcasting, and he did this. Oh God, he's a Garbage monster. Julie Chen, I don't know what you doing, girl. Anyway, if you like what you heard here, why don't you head on over to cpluscomedy.com, where we've got a couple interviews. We got some other things. We got the application podcasts. Subscribe to all things C Plus Comedy on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Your podcast player of choice. My leg feels. Oh, God. Oh, no. Let's see. There's a video version of this show. If you want to see my dumb face and this cardigan, you can also go on to youtube.com/C Plus Comedy to watch the video version of this show. That's also where our premiere show for C Plus Comedy lives. It's called News Time. I don't know if this camera's still on, so I keep looking at it because it's just out of habit. It's called News Time. I actually did the last episode for the year, which was very tumultuous last week. Last week was so difficult getting that episode out, but it came out on Monday. It's insane. It came out at 8 o'clock on Monday, which is great, which is awesome, which is what I aim for. It's a very good show, News Time. It's a entertainment news show, kind of like a Daily Show, except less funny. I didn't want to say that again, but I've said it about 40 times this year, so I'll say it one more time. The final episode for the year was the last time I will ever cover MoviePass. MoviePass is garbage company. Mitch Lowe did a horrible job. Ted Farnsworth ran Helios Matheson into the ground. They're going to be delisted from the NASDAQ in about 5 days. So there we go. Definitely check it out. It's a good episode. It's so good. It's so good. I dressed up in a suit and everything. Oh, definitely check it out. It's a wonderful episode. I cannot stress enough. Watch News Time. For the next 3 weeks, you'll be getting bloopers and the Plus 5 special, which is great, which is I don't even have to write much. I'll just knock those out today, this afternoon, and then I'll film them and I'll be done for 3 weeks. Oh, I do already have the top of the year planned out. When I say top of the year, I mean I have January through March planned out. So this is going to be real fun this year. This is the first year I have episodes ready to go. So we'll see. Here's to another year of News Time. Here's to another year of the Constitutionals, which will still be coming at you live. For those people that still listen. This is a long episode. I knew it was going to be long because I had a lot to talk about. Thank you for listening. If this camera is still on, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Tell your friends, subscribe, rate us on iTunes, please. I have 0 ratings. You know, I'll go rate myself. That's the title of this episode. Go rate yourself, Chad. Okay. Thank you for listening. I very much appreciate it. You're the best. I love you. Bye.